in general, the kids space overall has been very, very hot. You're seeing new companies emerge, and you're seeing all the major platforms develop their kids product, right? I mean, Roku Kids, Tubi Kids, everyone started to launch a kids product. Overall, what we've seen through the pandemic is, some of the obvious trends, which is since kids are home, you're seeing a lot more streaming of kids' content. So much so that I think Tube Filter had reported a week or two ago that of the top 50 YouTube channels that particular week, 35 of them were kids channels. So kids are definitely influencing the watch time and what's occurring in the home. And we are also seeing an accelerated shift towards connected TV and OTT devices just to get in front of the main screen in the living room. What we see directionally in our data suggests that there is more family watch time or co-viewing sessions occurring during this time. And anecdotally, if you have kids, I think it makes sense, right? My kids are home, they've been home, they have more access, more devices, more content choices, to the point that you want to start to curate that experience a little bit for them. And also, I want to know what they're watching. So even in my own household, we're watching a lot more with the kids. And if you think about what's happened over this time with work from home parents or anybody who has kids, you're seeing less activities. There's less things to do in the world with your kids. So watching together has actually become an activity, whether that's a Friday night family activity for a household, or if that's expanded into more than one night a week where you get together and choose a show or choose a movie to watch. So that's some of the trends we're seeing overall with regards to just streaming and watching and getting in the living room and really developing what we feel like is the new digital hearth. People are coming together again to watch. First and foremost, I mean, the bulk of the business resides within YouTube. YouTube still is the #1 platform for kids viewing. In addition, they're well distributed, right? So you can access everywhere. And then outside of YouTube, you're starting to see that growth on the other platforms. The advertising side of the business for us is very new outside of linear. We have had a ad sales business in some markets on the linear side, but from a digital perspective, we've never directly sold advertising. We have licensed the programming and sold to the networks and sold to SVOD. So this is new, and it's a new rollout to agencies and to brands direct. What we started to do, given the fact that we were rolling this out during this time, is we focused heavily on some of our core clients, which often are in the toy category, which makes sense in the kids space. And then focus on the major holding companies and some key agencies. So we still haven't gotten to everybody. And certainly when we do speak with marketers or agency executives, one of the first questions is, how come we haven't heard of you? And once they understand the response that we just hadn't sold the advertising directly on these platforms before, you kind of move past that situation very quickly. So the awareness picks up within these companies very quickly, because our IP is very, very well known. And I think once people see the IP, they see the characters in our portfolio, they see some of the shows, and they understand the scale, the conversations tend to move pretty quickly.
What are some of the categories that you're targeting and that you think are most likely to be advertising on around your programming?
Yeah. So at the end of the day, I would argue that anybody with a family-related message or creative like that really should be in front of some of this premium programming, just for the brand safety aspect, which is one play for advertisers. But what we typically see is entertainment is really important category for us. For every kid and family movie and show that's being put out. And then retail, certainly super important, not just the retailers, but the e-com platforms and the toy companies and anybody making products for the family or for the kids. And then CPG, probably the next big category. Outside of that, you do have the key categories that participate in this type of inventory or that will collaborate with us on IP, like the auto category with family vehicles, even in some cases the tech and telco category where they have specific offerings for the family or devices that are specifically made for kids that have certain parental controls. So really the categories are pretty broad. You know, you're not dealing necessarily with the advertisers that their primary focus is, you know, a millennial, let's say. They're really looking at advertisers that want to reach the kids or the parents.
What's exciting to you in terms of, as being a programmer, having addressability, having targeting? Obviously, there's a lot of issues around privacy, particularly around kids, that you have to be very aware of. In terms of making the business and providing the right buy for your buyer and getting the right results, the right performance, what are some key things that you think about and are implementing?
YouTube made the biggest change, which was, you know, well covered over the last year after they had a fine, a regulatory fine. And ultimately what they did was develop a classification for kids content called Made for Kids. What that has done, at least with respects to YouTube, has changed the game for advertisers. You no longer can use data in order to that particular content. You can't use audience data or graphic data that you might have on the audience. So you have to be smart about how you the planning and targeting and optimization campaigns. With that said, I think what happens is it sort of pushes the business back a little bit like television. You want to make sure you have good content alignment, the right episodes, whether it be around holidays and events and things that make sense to turn up your message. Really can only do with direct partners that have own significant libraries, that manage significant libraries, and that really understand the content and understand the programming. So that's a big change, at least with the YouTube. It impacts how agencies and advertisers access and target that inventory. You do have a few of the platforms making themselves COPA compliant by ensuring that they're not collecting the data and using the data. You know, I know Pluto is a partner of ours, and they have been able to make the COPA compliant. So you'll see more of that come. But overall, as an industry in the AVOD sector, kids and family sector, which really is just being built now, I think it's just a huge, interesting opportunity because of how much kids and family programming is behind paywall. You know, the rise of Disney Plus. You know, this starts to leave a significant hole for advertisers in how they're going to be able to access and market to kids and family. So I think our opportunity to build, you know, the large compliant AVOD network for kids and family comes at a good moment in time. I mean, this is the time to do it. I think we have the right assets to do it. We have some great new shows that are going to be coming and announcements that are going to be made. One of the recent announcements we did make publicly was we are doing the animated version of the Green Hornet with Kevin Smith. So we have a lot of fun projects coming. We have a lot of IP that we're looking at refreshing for modern times, like Inspector Gadget. And we are also looking to acquire and bring in IP that we feel is a good fit for our portfolio.